Good morning. Tech for Senior. It's episode 115. It is the 6th of June. It's June already. Welcome everyone to the show today. Now that I'm so pleased that we have 75 people in the audience because, of course, on the other channel, it is the big Apple Developers Conference today. So I'm sure everybody's over there watching all the new products from Apple. Anyway, welcome. We have a big show for you today. I always say thank you for coming because it is your enthusiasm that keeps us going and keeps us producing the videos. This, of course, is our Tech for Senior Monday show. We also have a show on Thursday, Tech for Senior Live, where we get together with the usual gang and go over the weekly news. We also take that and we podcast it. So if you miss our 2 shows in a week, you can also listen to our podcast. We also tape this, and so this will be available for replay if you want to listen to any of the listen to it over. We should have it up on our channel later on today, as well as the individual segments in there will be, of course, available as well. This week is a big week. Lots of exciting things happening. As I mentioned to you, the Apple Developer Conference is on, and we will be able to see what all the new Apple products are. And on a personal note, all the video editing I do is done through a software program called Camtasia. And I spend about 6 hours a day in Camtasia, so it is my right arm. And of course, tomorrow will be the release of their 2022 edition. So we'll see about all the new features that will be listed as well. We also have a Premiere service where we take these we take all what we did a year ago, and we create 3 sections in there so that we can. And we have that available for you at 1/2 p.m. And today I'm going to be talking on a blood test with your smartwatch. So instead of going and getting jabbed, can you use your smartwatch? We'll be talking about that. How to pin an application and file to the taskbar in Windows. Hewie's going to talk on that. And I'm going to talk about how to install Android apps on your Chromebook. So those are three topics that we're going to talk about on our Premiere service at 1/2 p.m. So let me introduce everybody today. Of course, you all know the Hewie Poplock. Of course, Hewie is our co-host here. Hewie, you've had a good week. You're binge watching on Bosch, I hear.
I binge watched Bosch, 7 seasons of regular Bosch, and then the new one, the Bosch Legacy, got 1 season out, and I finished it up late last night.
Well,
so eight seasons of it.
Hey, have you got your new watch? What's happening with your new watch?
I put it on the little stand that I bought for it to charge it, and every once in a while it just doesn't sit right. And I pick it up and it's at 17%. So right now it's sitting there charging because I didn't charge it properly.
Oh, okay. All right.
But I'm also getting ready. Sunday is the CFCS Windows SIG ready.
Oh, right. Does that come up again?
Yep. So if you're not registered for it or you're not familiar with it, go to hewie.net and sign up for my newsletter, because it will be going out at the end of the week, and it'll give you all the information on how to watch it and what's out there. So that's the Windows. We talk about Windows.
Windows. There you go. Excellent. Thank you. And Bob is off to Amarillo, Texas after the show.
That'd be a first stop. Eventually I'll wind up close to Dallas, and then I have family in Amarillo. I'm sorry. I'll be visiting my family who are close to the senior moment. Why did that happen when you're doing the show and not before the show?
well, we talk about Amarillo, and fortunately Ray was here because I said, I've been to Amarillo, Texas. What's that song, Ray? What's the song?
Amarillo by Morning.
That's it. That's it.
Only I'll be there by evening. Thank you.
There you go. And so good, safe travels. Will you be you'll be doing the show from Texas next week?
Yep.
Amazing what the internet can do, eh?
Doesn't matter where you are, as long as you got reliable internet access.
There you
And
go.
I'll find that out on Friday.
There you go. And of course, Ray, Pine, Arizona. What's happening in Pine?
Well, we're under the proverbial annual fire watch now. We're not allowed to have barbecues outside anymore. So my cooker is going to stay uncooking for a while. But hopefully we'll get through this. July is always the month for the monsoons. So we're looking forward to July coming sooner than later.
And you told us you're getting your big motorhome out to go to the Grand Canyon.
I'm getting my small motorhome out to go to the north rim of the Grand Canyon.
Oh, really?
Many
Okay.
people go to the south rim, but the north rim is a little bit more remote, a little bit harder to get to from where I am. But I've been there once before, and the views are just spectacular. It's a whole different feeling being on the north rim, and you're up over 8,000 feet too.
All right. Thank you. And I have Oklahoma. Oh, there you go. And rain. You've had
I'm
lots
sorry,
of rain.
you kind of broke up. Um,
Yeah.
the weather's beautiful here. We've had lots of rain. Everything is very green. I don't know how long that it's going to last, but we're enjoying it. But I want to tell you, I have the gadget that you won't believe tomorrow. I'm not going to,
Really?
all I'm going to tell you, it involved an unusual way of using a smartphone.
Oh, okay. All right.
So get your
Well,
purses ready. I think some people might get some buyers.
bias. Okay. Well, which brings me up. I forgot to mention our newsletter, of course, because we have a newsletter that comes out on Tuesdays and Saturdays. And tomorrow, of course, Bill James puts his gadget article in that everybody wants to read, and and he's going to mention the gadget of the week, or the gadget of the gadget of the week, I guess. The only problem we get some complaints because people are spending too much money on these gadgets, but my wife will not let me read the articles.
Oh, tomorrow you're going to be tempted. It's
All right.
unbelievable. Just keep in mind using a smartphone in the most unusual way.
There you go. Okay. We look forward to that. And of course, Dewey is here, but he said he's not going to talk to us today because he's running around doing a bunch of things to get organized. So hello, Dewey. But I know he's listening, but he's a busy guy. All right, let's get going with the show. Bob, are you ready to roll?
I am. Here is the Avast Security News Roundup for the week ending June 3rd, 2022. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and get involved. Twitter was fined $150 million for selling user data. According to a court complaint filed by the Department of Justice, while Twitter represented to users that it collected their telephone numbers and email addresses to secure their accounts, Twitter failed to disclose that it also used their contact information to aid advertisers in reaching their preferred audiences. The document listed the offense as occurring between May 2013 and September 2019. In addition to paying the $150 million penalty, the settlement requires the company also to improve its compliance practices. Avast security evangelist Louis Carones commented that this was a well-deserved fine. Violating users' privacy in such a way is outrageous, he said. If Twitter has behaved the same way with all its users, it could be facing fines way higher for violating Europe's GDPR. Twitter makes an annual revenue of $5 billion, with 90% of the money coming from advertisers. For more on this story, see The Guardian. Unfortunately, there's no end in sight for the chip shortage. A computer chip shortage caused by a supply chain disruption is driving manufacturers to come up with creative solutions to keep their business afloat. Computer chips have been hard to come by since the pandemic slowed down supply chains. Then the situation was exacerbated by trade tensions between the US and China and the Russia invasion of Ukraine. Car makers are especially limited by the lack of chips, and some have taken to harvesting semiconductors from washing machines as a temporary source. For more, see Wired. A new WhatsApp account hijacking method discovered. Researchers have found a call forwarding trick that can lead to WhatsApp account takeovers. The ruse requires social engineering and several preconditioned settings. First, the hacker must use social engineering to convince the victim to make a call to a certain number with a special hashtag or asterisk code in front of it. That code triggers the victim's mobile carrier to apply call forwarding to the number that follows. Then the attacker registers WhatsApp using the victim's information, choosing to receive the one-time passcode via voice call. After getting the passcode, the attacker completes registration of the victim's account on their device and sets up two-factor authentication to lock the victim out. For more, see Bleeping Computer. Amazon moves to web-only purchases for Kindle ebooks. Because of Google's required cut of 15% on all in-app purchases of digital content for apps sold on the Play Store, Amazon has shifted to only selling its Kindle books online and not in-app. In an email, the company explained that users will have to purchase digital content through their web browser and then access the books in their app's digital library. The email noted that the change was necessary to remain in compliance with updated Google Play Store policies. Google said it will remove non-compliant apps from the Play Store starting this week. To learn more, see CNET. A Windows zero-day exploit was active for 7 weeks. A critical code vulnerability in all supported versions of Windows has been under active exploit for 7 weeks, allowing attackers to install malware on victims' machines without triggering the system's defenses. The flaw stems from the Microsoft Support Diagnostic tool, which is called using the URL protocol from a calling application such as Word. Attackers exploiting the flaw can run arbitrary code that lets them install programs, view, change, or delete data, and create new accounts. Microsoft has not yet issued a patch. In the meantime, it advises users to disable the MSDT URL protocol. To learn how, see Ars Technica. Lax satellite cybersecurity poses a global threat. Space services are becoming more integrated with the network on Earth. While that allows for more space-based services, the interdependence also has security costs. Authors of an article for the World Economic Forum's annual meeting argue fears over the security of space infrastructure have been exacerbated amidst Russia's war in Ukraine. The Kremlin targeted a commercial space-based communications network on the first day of the conflict. SpaceX's Starlink network has likely also been subject to attacks over the involvement in supporting Ukraine with means to communicate. For more details on this, see Cyber News. This week's must-read on the Avast blog. It's time for us to review the annual Verizon Data Breach Investigation Report, a compendium of cybersecurity trends that offers some of the best analysis in our field. Read up to find out more at the link below. And that wraps up this week's Avast Security News Roundup. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye. The infamous "killed by Google" appears to be at it again. bringing Google Meet features to Google Duo for a single integrated video solution. That was the headline at the Google Workshop blog, and I've listed the link below in case you want to follow and read that entire blog. If you find this video helpful, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and get involved. In the blog post, Google states the following: to support the millions of users who rely on our technology for video calls and meetings, we've made deep investments in both Google Duo and Google Meet. For those using Duo as their cross-platform video calling app service, we've introduced new features like group calls for up to 32 people, the addition of doodles, masks, and fun effects with family mode, and video calling on tablets, foldables, smart devices, and TVs. That sounds like a nice enhancement to Google Duo. Here's where the confusion comes in, because Google also posted this in that same blog post. As part of our continued investment in helping people stay connected and to adapt to evolving users' needs, we're upgrading the Duo experience to include all Google Meet features. This integrated experience will provide users with a single solution service for both video calling and meetings with people across their lives. We're committed to making the transition from Duo to Meet as smooth as possible. Admins will receive an email detailing the impact to their organizations. We're committed to making the transition from Duo to Meet as smooth as possible. So what started out as an announcement about an enhancement to Google Duo is actually announcing the demise of Google Duo. A bit strange since Google Meet is the new kid on the block and Google Duo has been around since August 16th of 2016. From Google's standpoint, this makes perfect sense. Maintaining two different chat apps makes no sense. Concentrating on one app does make sense. Since Google Meet was designed with features that Google Duo never had, deleting or evolving Duo does make sense. As long as Meet still has the function to only make a phone call, this winds up as a win for all of us. It still would have been nice if the headline had been a bit clearer, like, Google Duo is now Google Meet. Enjoy the enhanced features. I hope that clears up the upcoming merger of Google Duo and Google Meet and clears up any confusion. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Bob. It is confusing, isn't it? And I use Duo all the time.
Well, they start off by saying we're enhancing Duo, and then they say, well, no, actually Duo is going away. We're just going to incorporate everything into Meet.
Right.
Okay.
Also, the visual was not very good on that. I suspect it's probably with your bandwidth on your tower out there isn't great today. All right, let's and I'll correct that. So when you have it out this afternoon, I can correct that in the replay. All right, let's talk about paying with your smartwatch. I did it. I used my Fitbit Sense to pay a credit card bill at a restaurant. In this video, I'm going to show you how easy it is to set up your watch as a credit card. You'll want to watch this video till the end because there are some important setup features you need to know. So let's get on with it. It's Ron Brown with Tech for Senior, where we make videos to help seniors with technology. Today we're going to talk about using your smartwatch to pay as a credit card. Now, if you like this video and you'd like to be notified for future videos we make, just click the subscribe down below and that notification bell. If you do that, we'll send you a notification each time we make a video that will help you with technology. So let's get on with it and see how to use your smartwatch as a credit card. Why would you want to use your smartwatch as a credit card? I can think of 3 reasons right off the top. Security, security, security. Those are 3 excellent reasons to be using your smartwatch instead of hauling out your credit card from your wallet. Let me explain how this works. The first thing is speed. You'll just be able to tap and pay. You have to enter a PIN code into your watch before using it, but then once you do that, you can just tap and pay and you're gone. You don't actually have to fumble around finding your credit card, get your phone out of your purse, and open the app. When I go shopping, I'm really amazed at how people store their credit cards in secure devices. The first thing is I see a lot of men who just have loose credit cards in their pockets, probably because they don't have a wallet. With women, of course, they have purses. I see lots of times when I'm shopping, the purse sits in the buggy, and oftentimes the person is distracted. They're busy looking at items they want to purchase, maybe doing a lookup on their app on a phone to see what the best price is, and they're not keeping an eye on their purse. So this is a very dangerous situation. Again, with payment on your watch, you don't need your phone with you. It can be sitting in the car. You don't need your purse with you. You don't need any credit cards. All you need is something secure on your wrist. And it's really hip and cool. Imagine paying for your bill at a restaurant with your smartwatch. You may be the first person the waitress has seen, and you'll be a senior too. That's being cool and hip. So one of the big reasons. I usually review smartwatches for health applications. And if you want to see the videos I've made, just click the link above, or it'll be in the show notes below, and you can watch the videos regarding health applications on your smartwatch. I own 2 smartwatches. I own the Fitbit Sense, and I own the Galaxy Watch 4. I usually review 3 watches: the Apple Watch, Fitbit Sense, and Galaxy Watch 4. I'm going to talk about those watches today to be used as a credit card for purchasing items in a store. There are other watches that of course will do this, but we're going to talk about these 3 watches today. Using your smartwatch as a credit card is just a little bit different than using your smartphone. In this video, I'll explain the differences and give you some helpful suggestions to make the process go easier. If you have an iPhone, then you'll be using Apple Pay along with your Apple Watch. This works very well and is available in most countries with most credit cards. The setup is easy. I, of course, have a Pixel 6 phone, so I can't demonstrate this for you, but the setup is very simple. And out of all the devices, this is the easiest to use and most widely accepted. So you're in good hands with Apple. All right, for the non-Apple users, I want to take all the Android phones and categorize them as Samsung and non-Samsung. So if you're using a non-Samsung phone, then you most likely will be using Google Pay. The problem with Google Pay is it won't work with your Fitbit Sense and all the Fitbit line. Now you're going to say, hold on, Google owns Fitbit. Why won't Google Pay work with a Fitbit? Well, that's just the way it is. So if you want to use your Fitbit Sense, you have to use Fitbit Pay. Fitbit Pay is found in the Fitbit app on your phone under the Fitbit wallet, and I'll explain how to set this up in just a minute. But it's different than Google Pay, and it has some limitations. First of all, there's a geographical limitation. What do I mean by that? Well, if you live in the United States, it's not a problem. It's pretty well universal and will work well for you. But if you live in Canada or other countries around the world, then you have to be careful with this. And in my case, when I went to set up Fitbit Pay, out of my 5 Canadian credit cards, none of them would be accepted. So I had to use my US registered American Express card, and it worked. So with Fitbit Pay, you're more limited in the countries that will allow you to set this up. So if you're planning to use your Fitbit for payment or thinking about purchasing a Fitbit, you'll want to check the country you're in to make sure that the credit cards you have will work with Fitbit. That is one of the reasons I'm so excited about the Pixel Watch coming out this fall. I certainly hope that the Google Pay will work with the Pixel Watch. It's got to, right? Come on, Google. So if you have a Galaxy 4 watch, then you must use Samsung Pay. Samsung Pay is very similar to Google Pay, but it doesn't work on a non-Samsung phone. So my Pixel 6 is not compatible with my Galaxy 4 watch. So if you plan on using your Galaxy 4 watch, you must have a Samsung phone and you must use Samsung Pay. So if those factors all line up, then there is no problem. The setup process is about the same. It works about the same, but you have to have all those ducks in a row to make this work. Now you start by opening the Fitbit app, and you'll see that on the screen. Just choose the Fitbit app and let's open it. Now when you open the Fitbit app, you may get a little bit confused. I want you to go down to the bottom and you'll see those big icons there, and I want you to click on the Today. Okay, come down here right to the bottom on the far left, click Today. Now once you've done that, I want you to come up to the top and come right up to the top left side, and you'll see an image there. It might be a bit washed out. I want you to click that. It'll be the top left image as I'm showing you in this diagram. Now that will put you into your Fitbit account. I want you to scroll down now till you see the Fitbit Sense icon, and I want you to click that. Now that will bring up the Fitbit Sense app, and I want you to open that, and you'll see that there is an icon there that says Wallet. You're going to click the wallet. That's going to direct you through a series of menus called An Easy Way to Pay. It also will show you supported banks and credit cards. Now, in order to set up Fitbit Pay on your smartwatch, you must set up a device lock for your watch. And there are two options. You can choose the one I did called the recommended one or enabled, and you have to enter a PIN code if you take off the device or every 24 hours. The other option is enable for Fitbit Pay only, and you enter a PIN for payments. So you have your choice of A or B, and that is your choice, but this must be completed before you go on so that your watch is secure. This is the final menu you get. You'll simply click on the top payment debit icon and you'll enter your credit card number or debit card in there. There then will be a prompt and you will receive a text message with a PIN code which you enter in to confirm the loop that you are now linked to your credit card. I'm not going to go into the details on this. It's very simple and straightforward, and it's the same as you would have done when you set this up on your phone. All right, let's see how this works. Here is my watch, and I'm going to enter the PIN code. Once the PIN code is entered, I can now access the wallet. Here is the wallet. When I click this, here is my credit card that simply has to be held close to the reader. Here's a demonstration where I use my watch my wrist as it rolls over. I simply come close to the machine, and of course it bleeps, and the transaction is complete. It's that simple. Paying with your smartphone. It's Ron Brown with Tech for Senior. Remember the subscribe and notification, and we'll notify you when we get some more videos. Till then, have a great day. Made a mistake at the very last. I said smartphone instead of smartwatch. Darn it, I'll have to correct that. Anyway, I know there might be some questions about that. We will talk about that in the Q&A. All right. Now I wanted to play another short video for you on this is actually about Ray's music. I made this about a year ago, but there may be some of you who are new here and are not aware about the Ray's playlist where all his music can be found. So I wanted just to replay this short video, about 4 minutes, and I just wanted to play this so that you can have a look at this. Hey, it's Ron Brown with Tech for Seniors. You know, I live in Comox, British Columbia, and I'm out for a bike ride on my e-bike. Now, we started at my house, as you see with the circle there, and we're going to come down Hawkins Road, and we're going to come down across over Goose Spit. And as we drive along, we'll come out to HMCS Quadra. Quadra is the cadet base for Canada. All the cadets across Canada come out to Quadra to do their training. And you know, we're going to have a nice bike ride. You're going to see us coming along as we go across the spit towards Quadra and then turn around and go back up this big hill. But I am so glad I have an e-bike. And you know, what is so nice about this is I'm listening to Ray's music. All those great music clips that he plays on our show, I'm listening to them as I cycle along. And you too could be able to listen to them if you subscribe to our newsletter. Yes, the Tech for Senior newsletter. Let me show you how to do this in the links below. In Tuesday's newsletter, this is Ray's segment. If you look closer, you'll see at the bottom here it says, click this link for over 50 songs. Well, they're going to add, as Ray continues on adding songs, this list is going to get bigger. So when we click that link, watch what happens, and this is on a Windows 10 PC. So when we click the link, it's going to bring us to, here's the list. Here's all 50 songs, all there for you to enjoy and play. So how are we going to save these? So as we come up, we're simply going to bookmark this link. You see, I'm going to click the little star there, add bookmark. And it says Ray's music list. That's all you have to do. And we're going to save it to our bookmark bar. And then we're going to come back, and here it is. Click that, and you will be able to listen to all Ray's great music. That's wonderful. So you only have to click the link once and set up the bookmark, and we'll add all the songs for you. So as I'm riding my bike, we're getting closer to the entrance to the Naval Cadet Camp, which of course we can't go in, and we're going to have to turn around and come back out. But I don't mind, because I'm listening to Willie Nelson and all those great tunes that you could too. But you'll find the link in our newsletter, our Tuesday newsletter. How am I doing it? I don't have my Windows 10 PC with me. Well, I'm streaming the music off my phone. Let's see what it looks like streaming the music on your phone. Whether you have an iPhone or an Android phone, you can get the music as well. Here's the entrance to HMCS Quadra. I got to slow down a little bit. This is a big bike and I got to turn it around, so I'm a little bit wobbly on my turns, but I think we can do it if I just squeak here. Let's see here. We'll do a bit of a turn. Yikes. Am I going to make it? Am I going to make it? I did. And here we are going back. Let's look at the Android version of YouTube. All right, now I'm listening to this, streaming the music on my cell phone. So here is YouTube on my cell phone. When I open my YouTube application, here is Ray's music list. And then here's all the great songs, again by Willie Nelson, and all the songs that Ray has for us, all streaming live to my phone. So by saving the playlist, you will have over 3 hours of continuous entertainment. And we'll be keeping it updated as Ray adds new songs. Wow! Well, let me just listen to some music as I finish my bike ride. All right. So I thought that would be good to show again, just in case people haven't, new people have come in and are not aware of what's happening. All right, Hewie, are you ready to roll?
The Starlink Report. The Starlink Report.
This is the Starlink Report for June 6th, 2022. I'm Hewie Poplock. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Starlink, the satellite internet division of Elon Musk's rocket company SpaceX, has developed a second generation of satellites for low Earth orbit, but they're too big to launch for now. The Gen 2 satellite is considerably larger than the more than 2,500 Starlink satellites now orbiting 340 miles above the Earth's surface. Gen 2 satellites are 22 feet long and weigh 2,755 pounds. By contrast, the first generation satellites weigh 573 pounds, or about 1/5 as much as Gen 2. To get the much heavier Gen 2 satellites into orbit, SpaceX will have to get its Starship heavy lift rocket ready. The Starship is the most powerful rocket ever built. It's made up of 2 stages. The first stage booster, called Super Heavy, and an upper stage called Starship. The U.S. Federal Aviation Administration is conducting an environmental review of the reusable Starship rocket and extended its self-imposed deadline an additional 2 weeks, suggesting the final report is coming in mid-June. SpaceX's progress on Gen 2 shows how much further along Starlink is when compared to its competitors. Amazon Project Kuiper isn't even off the ground. OneWeb, a satellite internet constellation half owned by the UK government, has 428 satellites in orbit at a higher 750-mile altitude. Canada's Telstat has 188 LEO, or low Earth orbit, satellites in space, but is facing production delays. Starlink has already brought high-speed internet for many rural communities out of reach of broadband. Starlink, with help from the U.S. government, has been able to provide internet access to 150,000 Ukrainians in the midst of a war. Demand is growing in different parts of the world for Starlink service. In the fourth quarter of last year, Starlink provided 100 megabit speeds to 15 additional countries. Gen 2 satellites are almost an order of magnitude greater than the first generation units. Some Chinese researchers are worried by Starlink's rapid progress. Musk's satellite constellation is enough of a national security threat that recommendations have been made to either disable or destroy SpaceX's satellites. Researchers in China say U.S. military drones and stealth fighter jets could see data transmission speeds increase by more than 100 times with Starlink. NASA has voiced concern about Starlink's proposed 42,000 satellite-strong constellation, saying it may lead to a significant increase in the frequency of conjunction events and possible impacts to NASA's science and human spaceflight missions. The space agency isn't suggesting that SpaceX stop its work, but that it conduct testings to prevent collisions. Astronomers fear that satellite megaconstellations will obscure the night sky when they attempt to capture long-exposure imagery. Earlier this month, the head of Russia's Roscosmos space agency apparently sent a threat to the SpaceX CEO Elon Musk after Starlink technology was supplied to Ukraine and used to help Ukrainian forces against the Russians in the country's ongoing war. Starlink's new RV plan lets buyers skip the line if they pay more for worse service. It costs $25 extra each month. You'll need the full price up front, and your connection is always deprioritized. SpaceX's Starlink is still scaling up its constellation of internet satellites, and the service is only intended for use at the specific location where the user is registered. But for an additional $25 a month, it will let users take their dish somewhere else every now and then with the service's new portability feature. For that package with portability, you still need to have at-home service first, and it warns users that they will be deprioritized while away from home. But if you're a van lifer or an RV enthusiast who is willing to buy a dish without having a home address with prioritized service, now Starlink for RVs will let you sign up and grab a dish for access right now. There's no waiting required, although it's worth mentioning the service is not set up to work while in motion, and as Elon Musk helpfully mentions, the antenna is a bit too large for your car. Not everyone is happy that Starlink for RVs has provided a no waiting option, even as some fans who signed up for home service have shipping dates that aren't due until 2023. Effectively, that translates to a big warning for anyone who might try to use the RV program, intended for people headed into the wilderness where other internet access may not be possible, as a way to get Starlink home internet right now. It's your choice, but it would cost extra and likely have slower service, making waiting seem more worthwhile. Starlink's internet service is now available in 32 countries around the world. Countries and regions marked on its map as available, including parts of Australia, Brazil, Chile, and the US, Canada, and most of Europe, can have their equipment shipped immediately. The service has steadily expanded since existing beta last year, with availability in 12 countries as of September 2021 and 25 countries last February. Starlink's map shows areas as marked available, waitlist, and coming soon. The service has potential of near global reach at latitudes below around 60 degrees north, but availability is granted on a country-by-country basis. Hawaiian teams with Elon Musk company for in-flight internet. Elon Musk SpaceX is moving into the business of providing internet service to airline passengers. Hawaiian Airlines said in April that it will offer free wireless internet service from SpaceX's Starlink satellite network on flights between Hawaii and the U.S., mainland, Asia, and Oceania. Honolulu-based Hawaiian said it's the first deal between Elon Musk's space company and a major airline, although charter operator JSX announced a deal with SpaceX as well. Hawaiian said the service will allow passengers to stream content or play online games with people on the ground without having to go through registration pages or payment portals. The airline did not indicate plans to offer the service on flights between islands in Hawaii. Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off, carrying 53 Starlink satellites into space. The launch marked SpaceX's third satellite mission in 5 days, following missions on May 13th and May 14th.
The Starlink Report.
And there you go.
There you go. It's getting more expensive each month.
Yep.
It's not a cheap service. Wow.
And it looks like they're not going to have any new satellites up there in the near future, but because that big rocket they haven't even tested it yet. They're waiting for approval to even run tests on it.
Interesting. All right. Thanks, Hewie. Bob, you ready?
Will Hollywood lawsuits shut down your favorite VPN? If you want to torrent copyrighted material, a VPN will hide what you're doing. Well, for now, at least. It's up to Hollywood. Torrenters will soon no longer be able to hide behind anonymous IP addresses provided by VPNs, and they're taking VPN providers to court to make it happen. Not just a concern for BitTorrent users. Over the last 5 years, several VPN providers have found themselves on the receiving end of legal actions on behalf of the movie industry. Some cases have been won by VPNs, but others have led to VPNs pledging to track certain users or even going out of business altogether. See the full article at How to Geek. Just follow the link listed. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and get involved. Hollywood and torrenters. The biggest change for torrenters has been that you can now be fined for committing software piracy. If you were to use BitTorrent now to download a popular Hollywood film, you could expect a notice to appear in your digital or physical mailbox warning you to knock it off or face fines. And these fines are no joke either. In 2009, a Boston jury made a man pay $675,000 in damages for downloading 30 songs, while in 2021, Danish police arrested 6 people that were running a torrenting site. The author of this article has also received menacing letters from copyright watchdogs while living in the United States in 2016, threatening unnamed fines and actions for downloading a Hollywood film. Torrenting and VPNs. To avoid these punitive measures, there is one powerful tool torrenters can use: virtual private networks. These handy tools can spoof your IP address, one of the most important ways in which you can be identified online, and thus make torrenting safe again, even if a copyright watchdog sees your torrenting files. There's nothing that can be done, as you can't be tracked. Of course, you could go up to a VPN in question and request users' details to find out who has been torrenting what. But as most VPNs don't keep logs, or at least they claim not to keep them, there is nothing to find. Hollywood VPN lawsuits. That hasn't prevented studios and movie distributors from trying, though, and over the last few years, plenty of suits have been filed. Some are focused on forcing VPNs to start logging user information, while others have focused on getting remuneration or even shutting services down. A little more serious was the lawsuit brought against Liquid VPN, a small provider which rather aggressively advertised itself as a great solution to torrent and streaming pirated material. The suit alleged $10 million in damages. It seems that rather than pay, Liquid VPN upped sticks and simply disappeared. Pretty unpleasant for anybody that prepaid a year of use. To a certain extent, you can expect suits, like the example mentioned. After all, the film industry is worth billions, and they don't want to miss out on a single penny due to piracy. It's no wonder then that when a company lawyer sees a loophole they could exploit, they're going to give it a shot. However, it seems like Hollywood is now turning to some decidedly nasty tactics to persuade judges to act against VPNs. In their defense, the VPNs in question put up that the Hollywood lawyers were pretty much just trying to rile up the judge and jury by equating their services with giving a platform to such nasty activity. In the end, this suit was settled on undisclosed terms, but it does show that Hollywood is willing to pull out all the stops in their battle against piracy. If lawyers can equate VPNs with the truly heinous crimes like distributing child porn or placing bomb threats in the midst of people, and especially judges, Hollywood wins and we lose. I concur with the opinion that VPNs will see their activities badly curtailed in the future. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Bob. And now we have Ray Baxter.
Love that, Ron. I got a little bit dizzy though watching my face go round and round.
You're still sharing.
What do you think of
on
that?
YouTube.
Did you like that? I thought,
Yes,
I
that's
thought that
great.
just fit. I thought that would just go perfect.
You're still sharing on YouTube.
Am I still?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I forgot to turn that off.
Gotta
All
do
right.
some editing.
We better turn that stop that live stream there. Multitasking.
Okay,
There you
am
go. I
ready
think
to
you should
go?
be okay. You're okay. The live stream stopped.
Okay, today I'm going to feature my new favorite modern jazz artist. Her name is Nora Jones. A little background first about how I got involved with learning more about Nora Jones. Up where I live on this Memorial Day weekend that just passed last week, the population here basically doubles with visitors from Phoenix and many other locales come in to shop at the numerous antique stores, galleries, and similar establishments. Now, the main focal point taking place in the center of town is the annual Arts and Crafts Festival. Vendors from all over Arizona and beyond set up their booth to sell everything from homemade jewelry to original paintings and more. And you know what? The food choices are pretty special too. Now, the local library uses this event to have a used book sale, which also includes a generous selection of music CDs that in the past you could borrow from the library like a book, but now needed to be moved out to make room for new selections. Now, priced competitively at $3 for $1. If you took the time, you just might find something you didn't know you needed. Now, my wife Carol did just that, picking up the deluxe edition of Nora Jones' second studio album, Feels Like Home. In addition to the CD with 3 additional bonuses beyond what was on the original CD release, the package also had a DVD that included several clips from a live performance in Madrid, Spain in 2004, and then a couple of official music videos of her songs. Let's think about this. Do the math. All of this for less than 34 cents. So Nora Jones was born in New York City in 1979. Her American mother and Indian father were both involved in the music industry. When she was 7 years old, she moved to Texas with her mother, where her involvement in music began with a keen interest of jazz greats like Bill Evans and Billie Holiday. Later on, she attended the University of North Texas. She majored in jazz piano. So in 1999, she returns to New York City, and she's a lounge singer. And she's discovered by a record producer that ultimately led to the recording of her debut studio album, Come Away With Me, 2002, on Blue Note Records. This is the legendary jazz record label. Since then, she's had multiple releases, including her most recent studio album, Pick Me Up Off the Floor, from 2020. Nora Jones has sold more than 50 million albums worldwide and received numerous awards for her music. Billboard named her the top jazz artist of the first decade of this millennium. Now, if you want to catch Nora Jones in person starting June 20th through August 4th, she'll be performing in multiple cities across the USA for a summer tour. In the meantime, today's clip, The Long Way Home, is from the DVD I just added to my Plex home media collection. So let's get this. And that was Nora Jones. A little bit of a country influence there too that go along.
Thanks. All right. Before we get into the question and answer, I want to thank everybody for coming today. I know there'll be some questions coming up, but I did put the link into in the chat for the premiere service, which will be starting at hour. I'm going to tell you how you can take a blood test on your watch. Not only can you pay with your smartwatch, but you can have a blood test. So if you want to listen to that, that will be on at 30:30. Also, Hewie's going to be talking on how to pin applications and files to the taskbar in Windows. And I'm going to be talking on how to install Android apps on your Chromebook, all at 30:30. If you have to run, we will be, of course, seeing you again next week, same time, same place. And I'm not going to tell you next week what I'm going to talk on. It is a secret. It is going to be a big secret. I'm not going to tell anybody, including Hewie, and it has nothing to do with technology. So, but you are going to be so interested in it, and it's a secret. It's a big secret. So you will have to come next week to listen, and that will be, of course, next Monday. Don't forget, we have our Thursday show on Thursday, and we will have. We'll be talking about the news of the week, and Bill James will have his gadget in the newsletter that will be out tomorrow. And this, of course, video will be out and I'll correct all the mistakes. Any problems, I'll make it perfect. By this afternoon, you can rewatch it and it'll all be corrected. All right, let's get on. George has his hand up. Go ahead, George.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. Yep.
Okay. So when I went to install Google Play on my phone, because I want to do that step before I try putting it on a watch.
Mhm.
I noticed in the terms and conditions that were coming during the connection with my bank that they seem to remove the credit card fraud protection when you're using another device. So I just encourage everybody who's going to do this using their watch or their smartphone to carefully read the terms and conditions. If you're counting on the credit card fraud protection, that when it's all within the bank's control, in other words, you're using their credit card and their chip readers and whatever, they offer some protection. I don't know how good it is. When you start adding other devices into this mix, they back off a bit. So just read those terms and conditions really carefully if you're counting on being able to use their fraud protection.
Good advice.
Yes. Now, although I would say if you take a credit card and you stick it in a reader, if someone could have stolen your credit card out of your wallet and you stick it into a reader, then of course, it would be much more secure using it off your phone, because your phone requires, either fingerprint scanning, but some biometrics to actually confirm who you are. It doesn't matter whether you're using your watch or your phone. There's another added level of security involved in that. So
the banks may not recognize that.
Well, although I think that the Google Pay is so widely used now, I don't see that as being a big issue. I mean, it may seem odd to us as seniors that this is maybe new to us, but it is not. It's been around for 7 or 8 years. People have been using Google Pay for an awful long time, and so the relationship there is well established, as well as Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, and Jim even said earlier Garmin Pay. That, remember, all that's happening is you're still using your credit card. All of this is an identifier instead of the actual physical card. You're using your phone as an identifier. And with the biometrics on phones, like facial recognition, fingerprint, I mean, how many people would have to put their fingerprint into a machine before they could use your credit card, right? I mean, they're adding another level of security on here. And all of that is doing is creating a digital credit card that still is the credit card company that you're dealing with, right? It's just another.
It's all very logical, but I just say read the terms and conditions.
Read it. Always a good idea to read the terms of service. Yeah. Go ahead, Hewie.
My question is for Ray. What makes Norah Jones, that song, jazz as opposed to even a light country or pop?
Yeah, and maybe I should have picked a different song. She admits that that's a Tom Waits song, who's a country artist. And I think she has, country feelings, basing a good part of her life growing up in Texas. But that is not close to being one of her normal jazz presentations.
Okay. I have to listen to some more of her music. She was good.
Yeah, I like her a lot.
Yeah, she's good. Terry, go ahead.
Good morning. Ron, before Ray's episode there, you did a little introduction showing somebody handling a vinyl record. I don't know if Ray will agree with me, but their finger was on the track. My children, and the oldest is in his mid-50s now, knew you did not touch Dad's records. So I just want to make sure that everyone knows that has a vinyl record, don't put your finger on the track.
Thank you. In fact, when I showed Ray this, when I played it for him earlier this week, he said, "Oh my gosh," he said, "people are going to think this is terrible." I said, because I'm touching the record. I said, "No, Ray, it's."
I will second Ray.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Terry. I made that comment immediately. I said, there's a way to hold the record properly. You hold it from the sides in the palms of your hands. And again, I said, you're going to find a couple of audio files that are going to not like that. And Terry, you came to the rescue. Thank you.
There you
All
go.
right. I don't know if I mentioned I have over 300 vinyls sitting about 15 feet from me.
Wow.
But, and Ray, I'll have to comment. Most of I don't think I have any of your music. Most of mine is instrumentals, and it goes back to Andre Previn. I have many of the musicals, the original musicals, West Side Story and Paint Your Wagon. But it's more instrumental. I have Frank Sinatra and Andy Williams, but I don't know that listening to you, I've ever had one of your recordings.
You know, music, that's what's so wonderful about music. Whatever turns you on. One person's music and maybe somebody else doesn't like, but there's no wrong music. If you like it, that's good.
Well, I can't say I don't like it. It's just that, you know, it's not my favorite.
It's not what you've collected over the years.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Chris. Or Jim. Is it Chris or Jim?
No, it's Chris. I'm the chatty one.
Okay.
I just want to comment on the Google Pay and the credit card thing. I mean, I tend to agree. Google Pay is just the method to deliver a credit card charge. It comes through on your credit card, and so I think that's fine. I just wanted to add one more little piece. As I understand it, when you use Google Pay or any of these pays, and you tap the device, they don't actually get your credit card number. They get a one-time code
Right.
that is only in the Google Pay records, and so, yeah.
That's right.
Secure.
They don't actually get
Yeah.
any. Yeah, they don't get any information. It's just a digital code that goes. And just another thing is I always say tap. We don't actually tap. In other words, these devices all had to have NFC chips in them, which broadcasts as near field communication. So you actually just are in the proximity about 1 inch from the machine, and it will. So you're not actually tapping it. And that's right. And it only gives you a transaction code. So if you go back to the vendor a week later and say, I bought something, I lost my credit card, there's no way he can say this. I'll look up Chris Gould and find out, what she bought, because they're only numbers. They don't have any information.
In essence, I think that the bank is saying, if you make a purchase with your watch, you're responsible for it. So don't give that watch to somebody else and then come back later and claim fraud, because it is your watch, you're responsible for it. And if it's used to make a purchase, you're going to pay for it, plain and simple.
But if you take your watch off, then you have to put it on. Someone puts it on that isn't you. Well, if you take your watch off, you'll have to push a PIN code in when you put it back on, or every 12 hours you have to put a PIN code in, or you have it set up that you put a PIN code in before you actually do the transaction. All of the watches, it's all a little bit different depending what you want, but it's not just a willy-nilly thing where you just put it in your watch and you can just start waving your arm around. That doesn't sort of work. So it's there are a lot of security issues.
Right. The bank is just simply telling you, if a payment is made with the watch, we assume it is you. You can't come back to us and say you didn't do it. That's basically what the bank is saying.
That makes sense.
If you're using the
Makes
credit
sense. Got
card,
it.
that could have been in somebody else's hands. But if it's your watch that you made the payment, it was you. It wasn't somebody else. Then don't come to us and say it was. That's
Yeah, that's a
basically
good
what it comes
explanation.
out to.
Good
Correct.
explanation.
My comment is I'd rather somebody steal my watch than my index finger.
There you go. There you go. Thanks, Chris. And welcome back.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Welcome
We had a
back.
great time, as you can see from the photos.
Indeed.
Folks, I'm going to bow out and say goodbye. I'll see you on the road.
You got to get going to Amarillo. Do we have any other? Yeah, thanks, Bob. Do we have any other questions? Anything today on the show? Go ahead, Neil. Unmute yourself. Neil, unmute yourself.
Oh, wow.
There you
Okay.
go. There you go.
I'm going to comment on Starlink. Last week, I was kind of bad mouthing my provider, and you said, check it out. Maybe was that you, Hewie, maybe? I did check it out. And it would cost me more than what I'm paying for the maybe better connections.
Yeah, it's not an idea of the money. It's if you don't have access to broadband, this gives it to people if you're in the right area. It's not meant to replace any of the broadband services that are out there, and that's and Elon Musk says that it's geared towards people who just don't have other access to broadband or any kind of fast internet, and that's who it's designed for.
Yeah, I believe that, really do. Anyway, that was just
It's a better alternative than HughesNet.
Absolutely. It's a lot cheaper than HughesNet.
All right. I hope that the Pixel Watch, I'm trying to think of a compelling reason to buy the Pixel Watch when it comes out, but maybe if it uses Google Pay, then that will be a compelling reason to buy it. There may be light on the horizon. Otherwise, it's sort of a whole hum thing so far. Anyway,
you're running out of arms to put a watch on, though.
Yeah, well, yeah. Go ahead, Elaine.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep, fine.
Yes.
I have Fitbit on a phone, which is not a Samsung phone. It does have Google. If I would go to Fitbit on the phone, could I use the same directions that you gave for Fitbit on the watch and then use the phone as the payment method? And would that work if it was a place that took Google Pay, or does it have to be a place that takes Fitbit Pay?
No, well, okay. So Fitbit Pay only works on the watch. You can't use your Fitbit Pay on your phone. So Fitbit Pay only works on the Fitbit watch, right? And so it's not a problem. I mean, if you set up Fitbit Pay, put your credit cards in, and then you can use it on your watch, and you could use Google Pay on your phone. I mean, it doesn't all as these are it's still going to the same credit card. It's still doing all the same things. It's just identifying you as who you are, so you actually don't have to have the physical card. And as I said in the video, I think it's certainly as far as it being in a grocery, because you don't have to have the phone with you, so it's not like it's working like a lot of the health apps. You have to they pair the phone to the watch, and you have to have the phone with you at the time you're doing whatever you're doing. But that's not true with the payment service. You don't need the phone. So it's so convenient if you're in the grocery store, you're grocery shopping. You don't need your purse. Your purse could be locked securely in the car. And so you just have your watch on you, which of course is secure. It's you need some sort of identification, such as a PIN code or biometric scan or whatever. However, you're going to access the watch, and it's so much easier than having something else with you. So I think there's a huge advantage. I can't possibly. It's just Fitbit Pay is great, but it's not so great in Canada, and it's not so great around the world because Google hasn't really done a good job in getting Fitbit to do the same as Google Pay, right? They're just, and I don't understand why. So it is a bit of a problem, particularly, as I said, none of my credit cards and my Canadian credit cards, I got 5 of them, would work with Fitbit Pay in Canada. It wouldn't register them, right? But that's not true in the United States because it's a well-oiled system in the United States. So that's how it works.
Thank you.
Neil, go ahead. Did you still have another question? Oh. All right. Any final comments or any further? Give it a try. It's a blast. It's fun. It's super easy to do. And I gave you Elaine, if you want to do that, the video will be up later on today, and just follow those steps carefully through the thing that I didn't explain is all those setups on the phone that you do at the very end that then downloads it onto your watch. There's one final step that I didn't put in there. It'll say,
Oh.
and we're transmitting this to your watch. So then it just sends the data down to your watch and it's done. So you don't actually do anything on your watch. It's all done on your phone, and then it just dumps it down into the watch for you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay. So I guess then we'll call it a day. Hewie, you've got some big stuff happening that's coming up with the next week.
Windows SIG on Sunday. Yep.
Yep.
And of
Okay.
course, Thursday is
Our
Tech
Tech
for
for
Senior
Senior.
Live.
Okay. And we'll certainly get that organized and have lots of fun with that. I'm going to have fun making my video for next week's, and it's going to be a blast. But I'm not going to tell anybody what it's about. It's going to be a secret, and we'll have lots of fun next week. Till then, have a great time, and we'll have this video up later on today. Thanks for coming, everyone. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.